All right, look, we have Scott Abbott from Gibbons Fans in the UK with us. So for all the Australians out there who've got inflatables, I thought I would do a bit of a chat with Scott because we are now going to be supplying the Gibbons Fans to the Australian market. Just so you know who I am, I'm Mark Riviolo from Bubbling with Energy Entertainment. We also have several other businesses as well. Fix My Tear is one of them, which is a repair tape. And we also have, if you've seen the website, jumpingcastleblowers.com.au. We currently sell a silver box, and we also sell a Hawaii blower as well, but we've decided that we wanted to get into something a bit better as far as what we think is a better quality blower. And I go to IARPA in Orlando every year, and Scott and I met up, and we decided to see what we can do. And we are going to start bringing in the Gibbons blowers. So Scott, welcome. And I just thought we'd start with just the history of Gibbons Fans for anybody that hasn't been in the industry for a long time. If you've been in the industry for a while, you'll know who Gibbons Fans are. We used to buy blowers from Gibbons and Silverbox. That was actually the two that I can remember from memory that everybody had at the time.
Yeah.
So, you can tell us a little bit of a history about Gibbons.
Okay, hi everyone. Hi Mark. So Gibbons was founded in 1996 and then went through a change at the beginning of 2016 where I became director, shareholder of the business. We've been manufacturing blowers since 1996 into the inflatable industry, sold many into Australia, US, UK, Europe. And we're one of the longest established brands globally in the inflatable industry. We kind of try and build things a little bit differently. We focus on quality, performance, rather than out and out lowest price. So we try and build something which lasts, has good longevity, easier to work on, safe, certified. Some of our blowers have been out there for 26 years. That's our record. That blower sits in my office today. So this, we kind of try and do everything slightly differently, and to provide you guys with a good high quality blower, great performance, and most importantly, has good longevity and is safe.
So, I mean, talking about that, I do know that Damien from Action Events in Melbourne, I was talking to Damien a couple of weeks ago, and he's got 50 of the black and yellow blowers sitting in his yard, which he doesn't know what to do with. And I just said, look, you'll have to toss them because you won't get them repaired. He doesn't know what's wrong with them. And they literally have just blown. So I guess my question would be, why should Aussies buy Gibbons blowers? We're talking reliability. How long will they last? You mentioned, the 26 years a bit. My experience with a number of blowers that we've been buying of late, we've got about 150 inflatables in our hire stock, is that they last anything between 1 and 3 years. If you're an indoor play centre, they'll last about a year, 10 months to 12 months, because they're getting used 7 days a week, sort of 8 hours a day. And but they're indoors, mind you. They're not outdoors, in the environment, the heat, et cetera, et cetera. They're actually indoors. But we actually tended to find that that's the length of the blowers we're getting in now. Hence the reason why we wanted to find something that was actually going to last a lot longer. We did have a silver box replicant, which we used to bring in, and they weren't a bad blower. When I mean that bad, they were okay because they lasted okay. But my staff are telling me that the actual pressure on those are not great compared to some of the other the black and yellow ones that we've brought in. So I suppose let's talk about let's talk about a few things. My concerns would be weight, how heavy duty they are, their noise. Are they noisy compared to some, what we've got now in the industry? And what size for, like, okay, if you've got a 1.5, you've got a 2 horsepower. So let's talk about that as well.
Okay, so let's we've been obviously testing. We have a new range coming out, which is what Mark's going to be selling. We've been testing that now here in the UK and in indoor parks as well. There's some of them been running in indoor parks for months and months and months, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. And the feedback is they're lighter than a current range. The performance is higher than our current range. They're easier to work on than our current range. We're obviously providing Mark with spare parts. So if you have any issues, you can easily swap them out. It's 5 to 10 minute job to change any part of the blower. On the indoor parks point of view, where that's been tested, they've been doing their inspection on the blower, taking the side off, looking for any dust ingress. And the way we design the blower is we try to prevent that, and that's actually happening. They've actually been giving us feedback as to say, hey, these blowers aren't getting as dirty as they were before. They aren't sucking in as much fluff, dust as the older blowers were. We've been supplying blowers into parks for years and years and years through some of the biggest inflatable park suppliers globally, and they're not. And our blowers have been in there 5-6 years now, and no worries. We try and make our blowers, like I said, so you can work on them, so you can fix them, you can change out parts, and they're easy to service. Noise-wise, the feedback we've got from customers is that they're quieter, and I would agree. In our decibel testing, they're a little bit quieter than other blowers on the market. So yeah, we tried to tick all the boxes with this. We listened to you guys, in effect, renters, indoor park operators, outdoor park operators. We listened to what you wanted. We listened to your wants, your needs. Even if you had some crazy suggestions, we didn't just write them off. We actually thought, well, let's see what we can do. The blowers have got cable wraps on, for example, to keep the cables neat. So yeah, we tried to build something from 20 years of experience and a lot of feedback from a lot of different rental operators all over the world. We tried to get the cooling improved on the motors so they run cooler. And of course, if a motor runs cooler, it lasts longer. Everything like that. We did CFD, which is Formula One technology on the fan. If we couldn't find a part we were happy with, we designed it. So a lot of research has gone into this range, a lot of R&D, a lot of development, and it's not been rushed. It's not been developed on the back of a napkin. It was designed over many months through many different iterations and went through a long testing process.
So you mentioned, I mean, well, one big thing that I always say is, Gibbons Fans have had such a big reputation over a great reputation for over so many years. So, the last thing you want to do is build a blower that's cheap and nasty. It's just going to destroy your brand name, isn't it? But you mentioned when we're off here about the safe sell thing. Can you just expand on that for me as well?
So one thing that we've done in this blower is all the electrical components are held within what we call a safe cell. So the safe cell is effectively a metal box, which is gasket sealed, it's waterproof, it's dustproof, and that holds things like the capacitor, the wiring, all that stuff, which you don't really want dampness, dust, anything to get on. It's completely protected. It sits underneath the motor. It looks really neat. It looks really tidy. And it's really simple to work on should you need to change capacitor or anything like that. So we just wanted, unlike some of the other guys out there, to protect all our wiring. It's all very neat. It's all very tidy. And I'm sure if you strip one of our blowers and strip some of the other blowers around, you'd completely see what I'm talking about, and you completely agree with me in what I'm saying and what you see.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, what I mean, basically, if a blower dies, well, as in if it stops, what's the most common thing that you think would happen? Like, what's the reason for a blower to die in the first place?
Well, the the most common probably failure point is a capacitor. And when I say common, it's not that common. We have probably 10, 12 a year that we replace under warranty, which is nothing. It's such a low percentage, it's unreal. The other issue mainly is poor power supply, because obviously if you starve a blower of the correct voltage, then it's like starving a human of oxygen. It's not going to be a happy blower or a happy human. So what we found, so they're the two main things, and some of the causes of that is voltage drop, hugely long extension cords which aren't the correct specification. And what happens if a fan does get too hot? It will stop, because when we're on our products, we have a thermal overload that disconnects the power to the motor. It stops, the motor cools down, you reconnect the power. You have to physically disconnect and reconnect, or turn it off, turn it on, and then the blower will start again. This is to say, this is basically protects the motor. It prevents the fan from being basically trash. It will live to fight another day. But as an operator, it's saying there's something not right in this installation somewhere. And it could be the inflatable's too big. It could be the ambient. It could be the power supply. It could be even the users turning the fan off and on, or something crazy like that. A number of factors. So it usually 99.9 times out of 100, it's a symptom, not a cause. The cause is not the blower, it's some external factor.
Okay. So if we were talking also offline about its output, as in 1.5 horsepower. Your comment to me mainly was that 1.5 horsepower would generally cover a 2 horsepower of some of the brands that actually we could get here. Can you explain?
Yeah, what we found is, in our testing on with some rental companies who've been using this product for months and months, is they're replacing our metal box fan 1.5s with one horsepowers. They're replacing 2 horsepowers with 1.5s, and then the 2 horsepower version is for the really big monster inflatables.
So basically, it would be that somebody having a very large obstacle course that may take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blowers. There's a potential there that we could probably drop those down. They may only need 6 blowers instead of 8.
Correct. And correct, you're absolutely right. And that obviously, from an energy perspective, means less energy is being used. There's an energy saving. On the indoor parks, I'm not quite sure how they're designed over in Australia compared to over in Europe, etc. But you may need less blowers to power your park, which obviously has a huge cost saving on
absolutely
electricity, which is, I know, is one of their biggest overheads because of all those blowers going
so,
8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
An indoor play center, where they could have 10, 15, 20 blowers drawing power on their thing. So the way I see it would be that they'd be able to hopefully put in less.
Yes,
which would be great. Okay, all right, that's great. What else was there that I was going to ask you about? Was well, I guess, is there anything else we need to know? As far as we're a little bit starved here in Australia because majority of people buy their inflatables through China. Some buy through the US, but most of it's shipped through China. They don't generally get a big offer as far as types of blowers that they get. It's generally the big blowers, and that's it. There may be a few others, but I mean, I can tell you now, I couldn't tell you any other blower that I've seen other than a black and yellow blower in most of the hire companies that have
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
I guess what we're trying to change here is change the thought process on these blowers, that these ones are going to last longer.
Yeah.
You will get times where blowers will be in somebody's backyard and they're going to die, and that's actually going to cost the hire a lot of money. It could cost them up to $1,000 if they're not around. In other words, if it's an unsupervised hire in a backyard, the blower dies. If they can't get back there with another blower, they're going to have to refund them. There is, I know,
Yeah.
a company online that's got a few reviews, comments about clients that have actually spent money with them, and the blower lasted half an hour, 1 hour, died, and of course
Yeah.
had to refund the money. They've got bad reviews, etc., etc. So the idea of buying the cheapest possible blower, in my view, and having been in the business for 30 odd years, is not the right one. What you want to do is you want a quality blower. And it's also down to inflatables as well. We see it with the number of Chinese inflatables that come out. They're not quality and they're not going to last long compared to some of the other manufacturers, and they're probably not according to the standard as well. So I guess that's probably the reason why we decided to start bringing them in. And we've got probably about 80 or 90 blowers in our high stock, and we're basically just going to start moving them all over to the Gibbons ones from moving forward.
That's great. And remember also, Mark, one thing you're going to do is offer service as well. Have the spare parts inventory, enable people to sort any issues out with the blower, replace parts. It's not going to be just like trash your blower. It's like, okay, I've got that part. There you go. And obviously you've got us here in the UK as a resource to help troubleshoot, help fix, and we're a very forward-thinking company. If there's anything that we need to change and we get feedback, we'll change it. It's simple as that. We're committed on quality. We're committed on building the best product we possibly can. And that doesn't always mean to the last dollar of price saving. Yeah,
that's great. Well, the idea is that you'll be able to order the blowers at the moment through the website jumpingcastleblowers.com.au. We ship generally through Australia Post unless you buy in bulk, and then we would look at the cheapest possible way. We can freight it anywhere in Australia, and it's generally a couple of days, straight post. It's pretty quick. If it's sent to Melbourne or sent up to Brisbane and so on, it's about, I think it's $65 is the freight per blower. And if you need to get in contact with us, just send us an email at sales@jumpingcastleblowers.com.au. And thanks, Scott, for giving us some information.
No problem at all. Cheers, guys.